Tristeza, page 25, by Jack Kerouac. So now, El Indio is back and standing at the head of the bed as I sit there, and I turn to look at the rooster to tame him. I put my hand out exactly as I had done for the hen, and allow it to see I'm not scared of it, if it pecks me. And I will pat it and make it free from fear of me. The rooster gazes at my hand without comment and looks away and looks back and gazes at my hand, the seminal gizmal champion who dreams a daily egg for tristeza that she sucks out the end after a little puncture, fresh. He looks at my hand tenderly but majestically, moreover, as the hen can't make the same majestical appraisal. He's crowned and cocky and can howl. He's the king fencer, biting the duel with that mosey morn. He chuckles at sight of my hand, meaning yeah, and turns away. And I look proudly around to see if Tristeza and El Indio heard my wild estupiante. They rave to notice me with avid lips. Yes, we've been talking about the 10 grand mouse we're gonna get tomorrow. Yeah. And I feel proud to have made the rooster. Now, all the little animals in the room know me, and I love them, though may not know them. All except the crooner on the roof, on the clothes closet, in the corner, away from the edge, against the wall just under the ceiling. Cozy, cooing dove is sitting in nest, ever contemplating the entire scene forever, without comment. I look up. My lord is flapping his wings and coo-doving white. And I look at Tristeza to know why she got a dove, and Tristeza lifts up her tender hands helplessly and looks at me affectionately and sadly to indicate, "It is my pigeon, my pretty white pigeon. What can I do about it? I love it so. It is so sweet and white. It never makes a noise. It's got such pretty eyes. You, see the pretty eyes." And I look into the eyes of the dove, and they are dove's eyes, lidded, perfect, dark, pools, mysterious, almost oriental, unbearable to withstand the surge of such purity out of eyes, yet so much like Tristeza's eyes that I wish I could comment and tell Tristeza, thou hast the dove's eyes. Or every now and then the dove rises and flaps her wings for exercise. Instead of flying through the bleak air, she waits in her golden corner of the world, waiting for perfect purity of death. The dove in the grave is a dark thing to rave. The raven in the grave is no white light illuminating the worlds, pointing up and pointing down through uppity 10 sides of eternity. Poor dove, poor eyes, her breast white snow, her milk, her rain of pity over me, her even gentle eye gaze into mine from rosy heights on a position in Iraq, an arquebus in the ope heavens of the mind world, rosy golden angel of my days. And I can't touch her. Wouldn't dare get up on a chair and trap her in her corner and make her ice leery human teeth grins, trying to impress it on my blood-stained heart. Her blood. El Indio has brought sandwiches back, and the little cat is going crazy for some meat. And El Indio gets mad and slaps it off the bed, and I throw both hands up at him. "No, don't do that." And he doesn't even hear me as Tristeza yells at him. The great man beast raging in the kitchen meat and slapping his daughter in her chair clear across the room to tumble on the floor, her tears starting as she realizes what he's done. I don't like El Indio for hitting the cat, but he isn't vicious about it, just merely reprimandatory, stern, justified, dealing with the cat, kicking the cat out of his way in the parlor as he walks to his cigars and television. Old Father Time is El Indio, with the kids, the wife, the evenings at the supper table slapping the kids away and yarnching on great meaty meals in the dim light. Blurp, blap. He lets go before the kids, who look at him with shining and admiring eyes. Now it's Saturday night, and he's dealing with Tristeza and wrangling to explain to her. Suddenly, the old Cruz, who is not old, just 40, jumps up crying, Yeah, with our money, sí, con nuestra dinero, and repeating twice and sobbing, and El Indio warns her. I might understand. As I look up with imperial magnificence of unconcern tinged by regard for the scene. And as if to say, this woman is crying because you take all their money. What is this? Russia? Masha? Pusha? As if I didn't care, which I couldn't. All I wanted to do was get away. I had completely forgotten about the dove and only remembered it days later. The wild way Tristeza stands, legs spread, in the middle of the room to explain something, like a junkie on a corner in Harlem or any place, Cairo, Bang Bombeo, the whole fella Oya lot from tip of Bermuda to wings of Albatross Ledge, befeathering the Arctic coastline. Only the poison they serve out of Eskimo glue seals and eagles of Greenland ain't as bad as that German civilization morphine she, an Indian, is forced to subdue and die to in her native earth. Meanwhile, the cat is comfortably ensconced at Cruz's face place, where she lies at the foot of the bed, curled, the way she sleeps all night, while Tristeza curls at the head, and they hook feet like sisters or like mother and daughter, and make one little bed do comfortably for two. The little pink Kit Kat is so certain, despite all his fleas crossing the bridge of his nose or wandering over his eyelids, that everything is all right, that all is well in the world, at least now. He wants to be near Cruz's face, where all is well. It's a little she. He doesn't notice the bandages and the sorrow and the drunk sick horrors she's having. He just knows she's the lady all day, her legs are in the kitchen, and every now and then she dumps him food. And besides, she plays with him on the bed and pretends she's going to beat him up and holds him and scolds him, and he yerks in his little face and little head and blinks his eyes and flaps back his ears to wait for the beating, but she's only playing with him. So now he sits in front of Cruz, and even though we may gesture like maniacs as we talk, and occasionally a rough hand is waved by its whiskers, almost hitting it, or El Indio might roughly decide to throw a newspaper on the bed and land it right on his head, still he sits, digging all of us with eyes closed and curled up under cat Buddha style, meditating among our mad endeavors like the dove above. I wonder, does Kitty Cat know there's a pigeon on the clothes closet? I wish my relatives from Lowell were here to see how people and animals live in Mexico. But the poor little cat is one mass of fleas. But he doesn't mind. He doesn't keep scratching like American cats, but just endures. I pick him up, and he's just a skinny little skeleton with great balloons of fur. Everything is so poor in Mexico. People are poor, and yet everything they do is happy and carefree, no matter what it is. Tristeza is a junkie, and she goes about it skinny and carefree, where an American would be gloomy. But she coughs and complains all day. And by same law, at intervals, the cat explodes into furious scratching that doesn't help. Meanwhile, I keep smoking. My cigarette goes out, and I reach into the icon for a light from the candle flame. In the glass, I hear Tristeza say something that I interpret to mean, the stupid fool is using our altar for a light. To me, it's nothing unusual or strange. I just want a light, but perceiving the remark or maintaining belief in the remark without knowing what it was, I and hold back and instead get a light from El Indio, who then shows me later by quick devout prayer with a piece of newspaper, getting his light indirectly and with a touch and a prayer. Perceiving the ritual, I do it too, To get my light a few minutes later, I make a little French prayer. Excusez-moi, madame, making emphasis on the dame because of Damema, the mother of Buddhas. So I feel less guilty about my smoke, and I know all of a sudden all of us will go to heaven straight up where we are. Like golden phantoms of angels in goldstrap, we go hitchhiking the douze machina to heights apocalyptic, eucalyptic, Aristophaniac, and divine, I suppose. And I wonder what the cat might think. To Cruz, I say, your cat is having golden thoughts. Su gata tienes pensas de oro. But she doesn't understand for 1,001 billion manifold reasons, swimming in the swarm of her milk thoughts, Buddha buried in the stress of her illness enduring. What's pensas? She yells to the others. She doesn't know that the cat is having golden thoughts. But the cat loves her so and stays there, little behind to her chin, purring, glad, eyes X-closed and stoopy. Kitty Kit Kat, like the pinky I'd just lost in New York, run over on Atlantic Avenue by the swerve, dim, mad traffics of Brooklyn and Queens. The automaton sitting at wheels automatically killing cats every day, about 5 or 6 a day, on the same road. But this cat will die the normal Mexican death, by old age or disease, and be a wise old Big Burn in the alleys around. And you'll see him, dirty as rags, flitting by the garbage heap like a rat. If Cruz ever gets to throw it out, but Cruz won't. And so Cat stays at her chin point, like a little sign of her good intentions. El Indio goes out and gets meat sandwiches, and now the cat goes mad, yelling and mewing for some, and Indio throws her off the bed. But Cat finally gets a bite of meat and raunches at it like a mad little tiger. And I think if she was as big as the one in the zoo, she'd look at me with big green eyes before eating me.